The Madman!
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy! Welcome to the latest BOOMSDAY project cards that have been revealed. Starting with Annoy-o-Module, obviously. It's a Paladin 4-mana 2/4, Magnetic Divine Shield and Taunt, a homage to the old Annoy-o-Tron. We've doubled all of the stats and mana cost. That sure makes the card a lot less good. Righteous Protector has severely outclassed Annoy-o-Tron. Annoy-o-Tron known for its very annoying quality of being a low mana cost Taunt Divine Shield with 2 health, which means you can't even ping it off. But Righteous Protector, even ousting that by just being 1 mana less and 1 health less. Annoy-o-Module is clearly a bad minion because there are cards like it, such as Lone Champion, costing 1 less, which aren't seeing play. You might argue, wait, but that's in just the control decks that you can fit it in. But then there's Tar Creeper, which is a 3/5 taunt on the opponent's turn. If you think of Divine Shield as like maybe +2 health, then it's about on par with Tar Creeper, except it costs 1 mana more. So it's 4 mana for +2/+4 on a mech, and give it Divine Shield and Taunt good. It compares to Blessing of Kings then. If we count Divine Shield as you're putting it on a mech and then you get to swing with it and dictate the Divine Shield, that probably increases the value of the Divine Shield by quite a bit. So from that perspective, I could possibly see it happening. It makes a minion really big and have Taunt as well. So turn you play it, you want to trade into a big minion, and then you want your big minion to be up against a bunch of small minions. It's actually potentially serviceable. Gotta see all the other mech options out there, but Annoy-o-Module, don't let its bad minion stats fool you, because it's a lot of stats for a buff, and compared to Blessing of Kings, it does compare okay. Next up, Warrior gets a very interesting weapon, the Super Collider. 5 mana, 1/3? After you attack a minion, force it to attack one of its neighbors.
It's the perfect warrior dream.
It's kind of like Betrayal, and people have compared it with it, but it's better than Betrayal. Because, yes, 2 minions are taking damage, but it's 2 adjacent minions. There are huge amounts of outcries of like, why does this cost 5 mana? Oh, if only it costs less mana. But really, like, even in that case where you're just hitting a Serenite Chain Gang, a 2-attack minion, you're already dealing 5 damage. So it's clearly a control weapon, and I think it's much better than it looks. You attack a 3-attack minion, and your opponent has 2 3-attack minions adjacent to each other, and boom, you're dealing 7 damage. Will it replace Scourgelord Garrosh is another question, and obviously Scourgelord Garrosh isn't being running and Control Warrior isn't a bad spot, but I just wanted to state that it's not as bad as it looks, and even though it will probably end up being a 1-star card, it's only because Control Warrior is not a viable archetype. Druid gets a series of cards that have to do with Treants. Dendrologist, 2 mana 2/3, Battlecry, if you control Treant, discover a spell. That is a really powerful effect. It's pulling druids towards gardening, which is hilarious and awesome. And I like that because druid does need to dilute their pull by having more specific things and less general things. Because druid's spell lists and just general cards right now are very, very good. So spending a bunch of cards in an expansion to deal with a specific mechanic of dealing with Treants is a very good direction to put Druid in. Needless to say, if you control Treant, Dendrologist is extremely good. It's 2 mana 2/3, and you get to discover a spell, which in Druid is pretty good. It was so good that you used to put in Raven Idol into your deck mainly to discover a spell. The difference between this card and Raven Idol, though, is that Raven Idol can be played at 1 mana. This card is played really on 3 or even 4 mana, because first you have to play a Treant. It's not likely the Treant will stick around. And then you play the Dendrologist. And yes, at the worst, it's a 2 mana 2/3, which isn't bad, but certainly isn't good. Landscaping! Landscaping seems like a very solid way to get Treants. 3 mana to get 4/4 worth of minions, and this is actually better than a 4/4 and cast on turn 3 because, well, it depends on meta, but 2 2/2s tend to be better than 1 4/4 on turn 3. It depends on whether the meta is featuring a bunch of 2/3s and 3/3s, because 2/3s and 3/3s are strong against 2/2s but aren't good against 4/4s. It's very close to being able to be run in just an aggressive deck or a token deck. A 3 mana vanilla 4/4 worth of stats, that's good by itself. So this card has some possibilities in aggressive Druid decks, as well as in the Treant deck, which we'll see whether or not forms. We can see the payoff for the Treant deck right here in Mulchmuncher. 10 mana 8/8 Mech with Rush, which costs 1 less for each friendly Treant that died this game. Cards that have the potential to cost drastically lower amounts have always been a cause for looking at the very least. Of course, everybody's favorite Corridor Creeper. It was a sleeper. The difference between this as well as other ones is that this one is very specific. It requires unfriendly Treants dying, and that means you must build your deck around Treants. We'll see whether or not this is viable based off of other Treant options that may or may not show up. I think if it's just these 3 Treant related cards, that the Treant Druid isn't going anywhere quite yet. Also, Spiteful Summoner can summon this 10-drop, which is better than your usual 10-drop 8/8. This one also has Rush. And Druid gets a whopper of a card in the Finale Legendary, the head of the biology department, Flobbibbidinious Floop.
Every time you play a minion while he's in your hand, he'll transform into it.
Gloop for everyone!
Keeping his attack, health, and cost.
Honest Hearthstone Cards has already pegged this as 4 mana 3/4, spell damage +5, or 4 mana 3/4, Death Rattle, summon all the taunt minions that have died. Wow, though. You can play it along with your cube the turn that you play your Floop. You can get some really insane combos going with the Floopster that will really smooth out these Druid combos. Did they even need to be smoothed out? Because Malygos Druid was already tier 1, and Hadronox Druid was pretty competitive. I see this as one of the strongest cards of the expansion already. There's just so much you can do. 4 mana full damage +5. My mind is reeling when I see it. Yikes. Enjoy getting glooped. And finally, perhaps my most anticipated card of this set, Whizbang the Wonderful. You start the game with one of Whizbang's wonderful decks.
What does that even mean? Whizbang replaces your hero and your entire deck. He even renames it for you to Whizbang is Wonderful. Because he is.
The 4 mana 4/5 stats are completely unimportant, but maybe just a nod to Chillwind Yeti and a nod to free-to-play. You queue up with your Whizbang is Wonderful deck, and you're going to get one of 18 decks. That is 2 deck recipes per class. And I've looked at these deck recipes. They've gotten way better lately. And yes, they're going to be less good than your tier 1 decks, but they are probably better than the free-to-play decks that I've come up with in the past. So I'm excited about this card because I have no doubt that it is possible to reach a legend with a Whizbang is Wonderful deck. And I myself will be trying that sometime during this expansion time. I'm going to be sad to say that I won't be the first to hit legend with Whizbang the Wonderful deck, but I will be bringing it from rank 25 to rank legend. I think it's an excellent challenge and an excellent source of flavor and laughs and wonder. And interesting tournament applications in that, can you bring Whizbang the Wonderful or Whizbang is Wonderful as one of your decks? Probably. And you can probably ban Whizbang as its own 10th class. Nobody will do it competitively, but just an interesting thought about the logistics of it. What a wonderful card to leave off on. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Oh, and here's a calendar of the schedule of cards that are going to get released. So many cards. Monday is going to be the preview stream, so I'll be covering those. And then every single day after that, we're doing a card review. This is gonna gear up to be quite a set. One of the card reveals is going to be my card, and I've got something special planned for you there. The good and the bad times, we've been through them all. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down, never gonna run around. The Inspira, Wheezing Seal, Gyarados Slowbro. Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all.